Let's talk about the Spymaster. Hey everybody, it's Mitch, and welcome to another Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 Prestige class description. And today, coming at you from the Complete Adventurer, we've got ourselves a Spymaster. So, what are we going to be talking about today? First off, we're going to talk about what is the Spymaster. Then we're going to talk about what it takes to become the Spymaster. Then we're going to talk about what you get as the Spymaster. Finally, we're going to talk about how good the Spymaster is and how you might use it in the build. So, let's get started.
Alright, so what is the Spymaster? Well, the Spymaster is someone who, unlike many adventurers, really doesn't care for the spotlight. They don't want people to know who they are. No, they want to kind of remain under the radar. They like to gain some information here or there, but, they're not the type that's putting themselves out there publicly. They like to have, separate little identities going on. That's kind of their big thing, is having separate personas that they're able to really separate in some pretty impressive ways, to be honest. They can be of any class, really. Often rogues, but not always. They're quite an interesting class. They have a lot of personas, and they like to kind of sort of let people think they're one thing when they're really something else. And that's one of the things about the Spymaster that's kind of most interesting. But yeah. You might think that you know the Spymaster. Maybe you have one in your party. Maybe you think it's the barbarian, the wizard. You don't know. And you might never know. It really depends. But yeah, now that we know what the Spymaster is,
let's talk about what it takes to become a Spymaster. First off, it's going to take 8 ranks in Bluff and Disguise. Then it's going to take 4 ranks in Diplomacy, Forgery, Gather Information, and Sense Motive. And finally, it takes to feat Skill Focus Bluff. So, now that we've talked about what it takes to become a Spymaster,
let's talk about what you get as the Spymaster. First off, you get a d6 hit dice, you get an average base attack bonus, and you get a good reflex save, but a bad fortitude and will save. You're also proficient with all simple and martial weapons, as well as you're proficient in light and medium armor. The Spymaster also gains the class feature Cover Identity. What this does is it gives you a cover identity, which makes it so that you can pretend that you're someone else, someone very specific. And while you are assuming this identity, you gain some bonuses. You get a +4 bonus on Disguise, and a +2 on Bluff and Gather Information checks. And at 4th and 7th levels, you get to add a new identity. So to start off, you'll have 1 cover identity, and eventually you'll have 3 different cover identities that you can switch in and out of as needed. They also get the extraordinary ability Undetectable Alignment. What this does is it makes it so that have their alignment detected, because they're shifting in and out of identities. It's impossible for anyone to figure out what their true alignment is. And yeah, it functions the exact same as the spell, except it's all of that. The Spymaster also gets quick change, which lets them change into a disguise at 1/10 time normal, and they can change in and out of armor at 1/2 the time, which is pretty good. It can be very useful. They also get Scrying Defense, which is somehow their class level to be able to say they get Scrying. And it also lets them have that 2 slot check to try and pick up on sensors and Scrying. So, it can be very good. In the 3rd and 6th level, they also gain a d6 sneak attack, which is pretty nice. So, they're getting it decent enough rate. Not great, but it's something. It also gains Slippery Mind, the same as a rogue gets, which lets them wriggle out of certain situations that might have mental effects on them. She also gets the spell Scrying, which basically it lets them cast effectively greater dispel magic on any sort of scrying sensor that they detect. And yeah, it can be quite good. It's 10 plus their class level. his caster level, so it can be pretty strong. And finally, they get deep cover. Now, what this does is it makes it so that scrying is straight up impossible on them while they're in their cover identity. If they're in cover identity, they can scry on that cover if they know the cover. If someone tries scrying on the Spymaster while they're in deep cover and they're just trying to scry on the Spymaster's normal identity, it's just going to fail. The only way that would work is if they somehow know this cover identity and try scrying on that instead. So this can make it quite difficult for someone to scry. They're going to have to already have some information about you. So yeah, that's what the Spymaster gets. Let's talk about how good they are and how you might use them in the build. Alright, so first, how good are they? Well, for a rogue, they have their uses for sure. I mean, the prereq's not the greatest, but you don't lose a ton in terms of like how much rogue stuff you lose when taking this. And what you get is pretty decent. You gain some really good ways to avoid detection and being scried with your cover. And it's non-magical, which means that unlike other methods for doing this, if somebody wants to use detect magic on you, they're not going to detect magic, at least not from this. Whereas if you use other methods to try and make it so that you couldn't be scryed on, those methods would be picked up. But with this, well, as far as anyone knows, you just are whatever your cover is. And that can be pretty powerful. Knowledge is power, and being able to, completely hide who you are can be a really big deal. Like, these guys can do big for espionage. They'll just go hide out in some, random city on a different cover. No one has any clue who they are, truly. That they just know the cover that is currently that they're under. And yeah, that can be absolutely massive having something like that. And some of their abilities are really powerful. Like deep cover, that's really good. Deep cover protects you from divination, as well as all the other stuff protects you from so many other things in terms of someone trying to spy on you. This is really big. Like, there's really nothing that's quite on the same level in the entire game when it comes to creating a false identity that you can live under. You truly be a spy. The Spymaster really takes the cake, and they really live up to their name. So yeah, to use in the builds, honestly, just take some levels of rogue, and then jump into this, and then maybe take some more levels of rogue, or maybe take another rogue-like class, or I don't know, another class that maybe fits some of your other backstories or whatever. Just take, however you want to do it, really. This is going to fit best with rogue, but it really doesn't require anything besides rogue for this. You could do a 13-level rogue, 7-level Spymaster, and that works perfectly fine. Or you can throw some other prestige classes, some other classes. This is going to fit into a lot of builds. So yeah, if you want to be a spy of some sort and have various different cover identities, Spymaster's one of the best places to go.
Alright, so that's really all I have to say about the Spymaster. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. Maybe subscribe to the channel for more D&D 3.5 content, because I do one of these on every single class, race, and prestige class in Dungeons & Dragons 3.5, so don't miss out on a video. Leave a comment down below. I enjoy reading them, and I most likely will reply at some point. Even if it's years later, I have a good chance I'll probably reply. But anyways, always, I'm Mitch. Seeing ya.